from South Africa.
Welcome back. You tuned into Salam Media. Let me just get Zia to remove the echo from these headphones. Okay, so now I can welcome you back. You tuned into Inspired Afternoons with Maria Mia, and now I like to welcome our experienced happiness coach and psychologist Razia Sulliman. And today, let's just see, she's got for us a loaded topic, a reflection and desire in one's and limiting beliefs as well as identity. Assalamu alaikum, Razia.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you keeping?
Alhamdulillah. Today's topic is actually we're looking at time in relation to the topics we've covered, because we looked at limiting beliefs, we looked at the subconscious, we looked at the wants and desires, and those were all the tangible topics that were inside of ourselves. So that required a lot of reflection. And where we're going to from here is looking at things that is more outside of ourselves, that control our happiness. And one of those things is time.
And time is an important concept that even the Quran recognizes, because when we say wal as, it says through the passing of time. And yes, time is important even in everybody's lives. That whole concept of time, whether it's physical time of minutes, seconds, hours, or periods of time, everything. I mean, the fact that even as Muslims, we follow time when we need to pray our 5 daily salahs are based on the passing of time. Time is a fundamental concept in our lives.
So one of the things that I keep in mind most of the time now is the one thing, if you've lost it, you can never get it back, is time. And that is basically the element that causes us unhappiness, because we are not focused on the now. So I wanted to ask a question and see what the response is. If I were to sponsor you a holiday anywhere in the world, and I was gonna be there in the background videoing this holiday for you, where would you go?
Okay, so Razia, what I'm going to do is um,
1A الأول 1A الآخر 1A العزيم 1A العليم 1A العزيز 1A الحق أسماء الله الحسنى. Yes, the most beautiful names.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
Well, welcome back. You tuned into Inspired Afternoons, and yes, we had another. I don't know. I don't know if it's load shedding or power outage, but yes, it happened. And when it's unplanned for, it takes about 2 minutes for us to switch from generator from electricity Eskom city power to our generator, and hence the delay. Especially this happens, and yes, Ziad just reminding me that it always happens when it's my shows. Yes, last week Wednesday there was a internet connection problem with one of the towers that were blown down because of the inclement weather, and today it was an unexpected power cut. So yes, it happens on my watch, unfortunately. But we take things in our stride, and that's why we have Razia Sulliman here, our life coach, to help us so that we can take things on our stride. And irrespective of the circumstances, we can see a lighter, happier side to it. So let me just welcome Razia back. Assalamu alaikum. Razia, are you back?
Walaikum salam, I'm back.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. I was going to get in your question. So I planned, they told me they need to switch to the generator. So the idea was to get the question in and then have the commercial break so we all could process your question. And it just didn't happen. So let's can you please repeat the question for us?
So the question is, if I sponsor a holiday for you, all expenses paid, I'll tag along, but you won't see me. I'll be in the background videographing this whole experience of your breakaway, and you have the memories to keep. Where would you go?
Maldives. It's on my bucket list.
Maldives.
Number one, yeah, Maldives. I am an ocean person. I love the ocean. I just sit there and I can see the magnificence of the Almighty, and I can sit there forever just watching the ocean and then taking a dip now and then, go snorkeling, and yeah, just relaxing. So that's I'm an island person. So there's one island that's on my bucket list. Uh,
Mm,
Expensive. So you sponsoring, I'm going the number one on my bucket list because it takes a lot of savings to get there. So I'm
mm.
going number one to the I didn't even have to think about it because I know.
You know. So if I were to flip the question and I said to you, okay, you can go wherever you want to, but there will be no memory. So you go wherever you want to, there'll be no photographs, there'll be no videos, and the moment your vacation is over, you will lose the memory of the vacation. Would you still pick the same place?
Nope.
Where would you go?
I'd probably go somewhere where I need to confront my fears because I'm not going to have no recollection about it afterwards. So maybe somewhere
Mm,
negative because I don't want to remember it afterwards.
afterwards. So that's one of the exercises that I would do with a client to show that oftentimes our decisions are based not on what we truly want, but on the memory that we're creating. If the memory wasn't there, we might make a different decision completely. And that's where time factors in. We spend a lot of time creating memories. We spend a lot of time, and all of those things are very good. Where it becomes negative is where the memory or the past affects the present. So the regret that you have for the past or the worry about the future. And it is those things that then impact how we experience the now. And sometimes the now passes us by completely because we're worried about things that we did wrong in the past. And the easiest thing for us to do is to make peace with ourselves, make peace with the people that we might have hurt, and move past it. Because you are spending time regretting a mistake, and in that time is passing you by. And that's what I was saying earlier on was time is the one thing that once you've lost it, you can never get it back.
Absolutely. And that's what you come to realize. That's why So that is why for me I put a premium especially on creating positive experiences and positive memories, because as much as I travel everywhere, for me, not as a picture, but just in my mind, for me, my memories are premium. They're priceless. I can't put a price on
On the
creating
memories.
memories, especially positive memories. Positive memories, I can't put a price on positive memories. So creating, like you say, uh, removing negative memories. And that is why my son gives me this valuable advice, much younger than me. He says, why do I allow a negative situation or negative people to steal my thoughts and get in my mind? He's saying, why are you allowing them in your mind? Or why are you
Yes.
allowing this a person in your mind? Because I get sometimes, if a situation goes or somebody really really is upsetting me, and it affects you. And I think negative experiences rose a lot more out of you than a positive experience. And you say,
Yes.
but why are you allowing this person in your mind?
So that's exactly it. We tend to internalize the experience, especially the negative experience. And I think when I was much younger, I learned this in high school and then later in my psychology classes, that for every negative thing we experience in life, we need about 8 positive things to kind of wipe that clean, and for us to feel good about ourselves again, or to feel good about the situation again. So negative affects us a lot more emotionally, and emotional things affect us physically later on in life. And that's why it's so important for us to let go of past experiences that are negative and how they influence us. And the honest truth is, as much as we worry about tomorrow and what tomorrow might bring, how much control do you have over it? In
Absolutely.
whose
So
control is tomorrow?
you, and 100% you're saying, we don't have control. We just have to use prayer, and hopefully our grounding and what we know in our life and our values and that are going to carry us out to a happier, brighter tomorrow. How do we let go? You say letting go. What is the process of letting go? Because it's very easy to say that, but can you give us some tips on letting go and advices on letting go?
So, like you said, saying to let go is very easy. Actually, doing it is something completely different.
Absolutely.
Something that I had to go through is I had problems, and for everyone, this exercise would be different. For me, I had problem forgiving. I had problem forgiving other people. So negativity affected me a lot. I internalized it. I remembered it. I kept it with me, and I also had issues forgiving myself. So what I ended up doing is I ended up making a list of the people I needed to forgive, the people that I have hurt, and myself, what I needed to forgive myself for. And it's actually easier to make peace with other people than it is to make peace with yourself. Oftentimes, we have this internal battle going on within us, and we're not even aware that it's happening until we dig deeper and understand what it is that you are upset about with yourself. And for me, that forgiving myself took much longer than making peace with everything else around me and outside of me, because I had to go sit still and I had to think, but what is it that makes me upset with who I've become? Where did it come from? And then the next question is, if I can forgive myself, I have to change. If I truly want to forgive myself, I need to change not the things that I did, because you can never change them, but change the traits within yourself that cause those situations. And it's there that the real work comes in, because once you've identified which traits caused harm to others, you then have to work on changing it and fixing it. And it's only when you put in that work that you can truly forgive yourself.
Yeah, you made a very valid point, and you got me to reflect on this in terms of uh, forgive is not just a word to say, okay, I forgive somebody and I forgive myself for that, but actually, forgiveness implies a shift in your perspective and a shift in your position. You need to change who you are in your position. So, forgiving equates to an action, basically,
It has
a
to.
mental
It
action.
has to. You can't forgive if there's no action. Whether that action is within yourself, to forgive yourself, or that action is towards others that you have hurt, or whether that action is addressing those that have hurt you. I always say that you can either, if there's things in your life that have hurt you, you have two options. You can address the issue, or you can forgive and understand that that's who that person is and they're never going to change. And who they are doesn't have to affect how you respond. And those are the only two options you really have available to you. And depending on who you are, you have to select one of the two. Are you going to address the issue or make peace within yourself that this is who that person is? They are never going to change. All I can change is how I respond and react to them. And that's a difficult, it sounds easy, but it's not easy to do.
Yes, and that's why, you know what, that's why I asked you that, you know what you're telling us, it's in theory, do this, do this, do this, but it's
It's not
that
easy.
action that is difficult. It's that
It's
action,
extremely
even
difficult.
because there might be some people that you seek forgiveness to, or some people that have, maybe you've harmed them, but even I think what's more is when somebody has harmed you, and then you need to forgive them, because sometimes it might be that you don't want to see this person. You've made up your mind that you've cut them out and you want nothing more to do with them,
With them.
and that's okay. You decide, I'm not interacting with this person. But
Mm,
the thing is, forgiveness is not about that. Forgiveness is about closure. Am I
it's not
correct in
closure.
that?
You are 100% correct. Forgiveness is not even about the other person. Something my grandmother used to say to us growing up is, you're spending all of this time angry at someone who said something to you and they don't even know that they said it. So that person that's hurt you, their life is going on. You're the one carrying the hurt and the pain, and they've forgotten what they've done, or their ability to care about it is slightly less because they weren't the one hurt by it. And if you don't want anything to do with that person, that's perfectly fine. But forgiveness is for you. It's not for that person. It's something that you do for yourself in order to be happy.
Yeah, and like you say, it's part of your journey of closure to move on to something else, so that it's not holding you back in your future decisions or your happiness or your perceptions.
So a lot of this is, someone summed it up very nicely, I think a couple of weeks ago, and said, so what you're telling me to do is I need to shake up my belief system. I need to question. And once you've mastered interrogating yourself and interrogating your belief system and knowing exactly who you are versus who you thought you were or society said you were, then things like this come up where you now have to dig deeper for forgiveness. We thought the other layers were very difficult, but when it comes to this, this is a lot harder to do, because this is closure for you. You don't move on without closure. You don't find that happiness without closure. And every person has to within themselves find how they will find their closure. There are many exercises how, but for every person it's different.
Yeah, and that's important what you said, because we are all unique individuals, and how we approach things and what we do also needs to be adjusted according to our uniqueness and our personality. And it's, so I think maybe homework for this week would be, maybe make a list of maybe situations that you need to come to terms with in terms of finding inner peace and closure. And maybe if there's anybody out there that you need to forgive or ask for forgiveness, maybe I think it's a good day. It's a good time to start.
Agreed.
Okay, so I think that's everybody's homework. Hopefully, if there is anybody out there that, or any situation in there, and it's okay, even if you said you're really not interacting with this person, or I mean, it doesn't mean that you're going to go back to a relationship you enjoyed with this person, but it's more about you, your happiness, and your closure, and that's so much about that. So I really appreciate that, and also I think I just want to summarize to say what you said. Forgiveness is about an action, and it's about a change in position and a change in perspective.
100% correct.
So I've learned a lot, and I'm going to be cognizant of this. And I think going forward, the other issue should be that time is precious. So whatever we do, we need to be cognizant of our actions, so that it's always a pleasurable, memorable moments that we create in every situation. Yes, life is going to give us challenges, but uh, even when we are challenged, we need to think of how we can get a positive outcome from this challenging situation.
Or see the positive in the challenge. That's something we struggle with a lot, is we
Okay,
go through
yes.
difficult times and we don't see the positive in that, what we see as a negative thing. If sometimes if we sit back and we reflect, we can see that there was something positive that came out of the negative.
Okay, I love this. See the I'm going to use this. See the positive in the challenge. I'm going to use that word. Thanks so much. Let's leave it at this, and I think we'll just see that everybody see the positive in the challenge. Razia, shukran. Until next week,
Afwan.
may you be under the mercy and the protection of the Almighty. Assalamu alaikum.
Ameen wa alaikum salam.
We're going to go for a short break, and when we get back, we're going to be moving on to our hashtag kindness and compassion segment, where Dudu will be conducting the interview with Mama Josephine Mfo, founder of the Super de Mama Senior Citizen Center. So all this after the break.